put things back together again. I was hooked to a respirator, and they said I'd never breathe on my own again because my diaphragm was destroyed. But this little voice kept saying to me, breathe deep, breathe deep. Finally, I was weaned from it. They were at a loss for an explanation. See, I could not afford to allow anything to come in my mind that would distract me from my goal and from my vision. Well, I set a goal to walk out of the hospital on Christmas. That was my goal. Months later, I walked out of the hospital on my own 2 feet. They said it couldn't be done. That's a day I will never forget. For people that are sitting out there right now watching this program that are hurting, if I wanted to sum up my life and sum up for people what they can do in life, I would sum it up this way in 6 words. Man becomes what he thinks about.
People have a tendency to look at the things that they want and say, yes, I like that. I want that. However, they look at the things that they don't want and they give just as much energy, if not more energy, with the idea that they can stamp it out. They can eliminate it, obliterate it. In our society, we've become content with fighting against cancer, fighting against poverty, fighting against drugs, fighting against terrorism, fighting against violence. We tend to fight everything we don't want.
Anything we focus on, we do create. So if we're really angry, for instance, at a war that's going on, or strife, or suffering, we're adding our energy to it. We're pushing ourselves. And all that only creates resistance.
The reason that what you resist persists is because if you're resisting something, you're saying, no, I don't want this thing because it makes me feel this way, the way I'm feeling right now. So you're just putting out this really strong emotion of, wow, I really don't like this feeling, and it's there, and it just comes racing towards you.
You know, the anti-war movement creates more war. The anti-drug movement has actually created more drugs because we're focusing on what we don't want, drugs.
How much sense does it make for us to give the problem all of the energy as opposed to focusing on trust, love, living in abundance, education, peace?
Mother Teresa was brilliant. She said, I will never attend an anti-war rally. If you have a peace rally, invite me. You know, she knew. She understood the secret. I mean, look what she manifested in the world.
So if you're anti-war, be pro-peace. If you're anti-hunger, be pro-people having more than enough to eat. If you're anti a particular politician, be pro his opponent. Often elections are tipped in the favor of the person that people are really against because he's getting all the energy and all the focus.
You want to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. It's okay to notice what you don't want because that gives you contrast to say, well, this is what I do want. But the fact is that the more you talk about what you don't want or talk about how bad it is, read about all of that all the time, and then say, oh, how terrible it is, well, you're creating more of that.
You know, so many times people say to me, well, James, I have to be informed. Maybe you have to be informed, but you don't have to be inundated.
I always say when the voice and the vision on the inside become more profound and more clear and loud than the opinions on the outside, you've mastered your life.
Learn to become still and to take your attention away from what you don't want and all the emotional charge around it and place the attention on what you wish to experience. Energy flows where attention goes.
It's not your job to change the world or the people around you. It's your job to go with the flow inside of the universe and to celebrate it inside the world that exists.
One of the questions I get almost all the time, and it's probably on somebody's mind right now if it's not on yours, and that's the idea that, well, if everybody uses The Secret and they all treat the universe like a catalog, aren't we going to run out of stuff? Won't everybody just make a run for it and bust the bank?
What's beautiful about the teaching of the Great Secret is that there's more than enough to go around for everyone. There is a lie that acts like a virus within the mind of humanity. And that lie is there's not enough good to go around. There's lack, and there's limitation, and there's just not enough. That lie has people living in fear, greed, stinginess, and those thoughts of fear, greed, stinginess, and lack become their experience. So the world has taken a nightmare pill. Now the truth is, there's more than enough good to go around. There's more than enough creative ideas. There's more than enough power. There's more than enough love. There's more than enough joy. All of this begins to come through a mind that is aware of its own infinite nature.
Every great teacher who's ever walked the planet has told us that life was meant to be abundant.
And so just when we think that resources are dwindling, we find new resources to achieve the same things.
And so even though we say we have lack, it's because we don't open up our vision and see all of what's around us.
You know, when everybody starts to live from their heart and go for what they want, they don't go for the same things. That's the beauty of this. We don't all want BMWs. We don't all want the same person. We don't all want the same experiences. We don't all want the same clothing. We don't all want fill in the blank.
There's enough for everyone. If you believe it, if you can see it, if you act from it, it will show up for you. That's the truth.
Everything that you want, all the bliss, all the joy, all the love, all of the abundance, all of the prosperity, it's there, ready and waiting for you to grab a hold of it. Now, you got to get hungry for it. You have to want it. You got to be intentional. And when you become intentional and on fire for what you want, the universe will deliver you every single thing that you've been wanting. Recognize the beautiful and wonderful things around you and bless and praise them. And on the other side, the things that aren't currently working the way you want them to work, don't spend your energy faulting or complaining. Embrace everything that you want so you can get more of it.
Most of the leaders in the past missed the great part of the secret, which is empowering and sharing with others. This is the best time to have ever been alive in history. It's the first time we've ever had the power to gain knowledge at our fingertips.
When we look around us, even at our own bodies, what we see is the tip of the iceberg.
Think of this for a moment. Take your hand and look at it. Now, your hand looks solid, but it's really not. If you put it under a proper microscope, you'd see a mass of energy vibrating.
Everything is made up of the exact same thing, whether it's your hand, whether it's the ocean, or whether it's a star.
Everything is energy. And let me help you understand that just a little bit. There's the universe, of course, and our galaxy, and our planet, and then individuals, and then inside of this body are organ systems, and then there's cells, and then there's molecules, and then there's atoms, and then there is energy. So there are a lot of levels to talk about something on, but everything in the universe is energy.
I don't care what city you're living in, you've got enough power in your body, potential power, to illuminate the whole city for nearly a week.
Most people define themselves by this finite body, but you're not a finite body. I mean, even under a microscope, you're an energy field. Well, what we know about energy is this. You go to a quantum physicist and you say, what creates the world? And he or she will say, Energy. Well, describe energy. Okay, it can never be created or destroyed. It's always was, always has been. Everything that ever existed always exists. It's moving into form, through form, and out of form. Okay, great. You go to a theologian and you ask the question, what created the universe? And he or she will say, God. Okay, describe God. Always was and always has been, never can be created or destroyed. All that ever was, always will be, always moving into form, through form, and out of form. You see, it's the same description, just different terminology. And so if you think you're this meat suit running around, think again. You're a spiritual being. You're an energy field operating in a larger energy field.
We're all connected. We just don't see it. There isn't an out there and an in here. Everything in the universe is connected. It's just one energy field.
We often get distracted with this thing called our body and our physical being. That just holds your spirit. And your spirit is so big, it fills a room. You are eternal life. You're source energy. You are God manifested in human form, made to perfection.
Scripturally, we could say that we are the image and the likeness of God. We could say we are another way that the universe is becoming conscious of itself. We could say that we are the infinite field of unfolding possibility. All of that would be true.
Every great tradition has told you that you were created in the image and the likeness of the creative source. That means that you have God potential and power to create your world, and you are. You are. And maybe you've created things to this point that are wonderful and worthy of you, and maybe you haven't. The question I'd ask you to consider is, do the results you have in your life, are they what you really want, and are they worthy of you? If they're not worthy of you, then when would now be the right time to change those? Because you have the power to do that.
You know, a lot of people feel like they're victims in life, and they'll often point to past events, perhaps growing up with an abusive parent or in a dysfunctional family. And I would add as a parenthesis here that most psychologists believe that about 85% of families are dysfunctional. So it's like all of a sudden you're not so unique. My parents were alcoholics. My dad abused me. My mother divorced him when I was 6.
From the age of 13 to 18, I was involved in street gangs.
I had a severe motorcycle accident.
I was homeless at one point in Dallas. I lived in poverty for 15 years in Houston.
When I was a child, I had learning difficulties, and I was considered learning disabled, and I was told I would never read, write, or communicate, never amount to anything, not go very far in life.
I mean, that's almost everybody's story in some form or not. So that's just called so what. The real what is, what are you going to do now? What do you choose now? Because you can either keep focusing on that or you can focus on what you want. And when people start focusing on what they want, what they don't want falls away. And that part expands and the other part disappears.
You are the designer of your destiny. You are the author. You write the story. The pen is in your hand, and the outcome is whatever you choose.
The beautiful thing about the law of attraction is that you can begin where you are, and you can begin to think, real thinking, and you can begin to generate within yourself a feeling tone of harmony and happiness. The law will begin to respond to that.
So now you start to have different beliefs, like there is more than enough in the universe. Or you have the belief that everything goes right for me. Or you have the belief that I'm not getting older, I'm getting younger. We can create it the way we want it by using the law of attraction.
And you can break yourself free from your hereditary patterns, cultural codes, social beliefs, and prove once and for all that the power within you is greater than the power that's in the world.
Some of you may be thinking, well, that's very nice, but I can't do that, or she won't let me do that, or he'll never let me do that, or I haven't got enough money to do that, or I'm not strong enough to do that, or I'm not rich enough to do that, I'm not. Every single I'm not is a creation.
Are there any limits to this? Absolutely not. We are unlimited beings. We have no ceiling, The capabilities and the talents and the gifts and the power that is within every single individual on this planet is unlimited.
There is no blackboard in the sky on which God has written your purpose, your mission in life. There's no blackboard in the sky that says, Neil Donald Walsh, a handsome guy who lived in the first part of the 21st century, who, colon, then there's a blank, you know, and all I have to do to really understand what I'm doing here, why I'm here, is to find that blackboard and find out what God really has in mind for me. But the blackboard doesn't exist. So your purpose is what you say it is. Your mission is the mission you give yourself. Your life will be what you create it as, and no one will stand in judgment of it now or ever.
It took a lot of years for me to get this, because I grew up very much with this idea that, you know, there was something I was supposed to do, and if I wasn't doing it, I was like, God wouldn't be happy with me, you know? When I really got that my primary aim was to feel and experience joy, then I began to do only those things which brought me joy. We have a saying, you know, if it ain't fun, don't do it, you know?
Joy, love, freedom, happiness, laughter. That's what it is. And if you've just experienced joy sitting there and meditating for an hour, by golly, do that. If you experience joy eating a salami sandwich, then do that.
When I pet my cat, I'm in a state of joy. When I walk in nature, I'm in a state of joy. So I want to constantly put myself in that state. And when I do that, then all I have to do is have the intention of what I want, and what I want manifest.
So inner happiness actually is the fuel of success.
Anything that makes you feel good is always going to be drawing in more. You are listening to this right now. It's you that drew this into your life. It's your choice whether you want to take it and utilize it. If it feels good, if it doesn't feel good, then you know, let it go. Find something that feels good, that resonates with your heart.
When you follow your bliss, you live in a constant space of joy. You open yourself up to the abundance of the universe. You're excited to share your life with those you love. And your excitement, your passion, your bliss, it becomes contagious.
And that's what I'm doing almost all the time, is I'm following my excitement, I'm following my passion, I'm following my enthusiasm, and I'm doing it throughout Joe's day.
Enjoy life with us, because life is phenomenal. It's a magnificent trip.
You will live in a different reality, a different life, and people will look at you and say, what do you do different than me? Well, the only thing that is different is that you work with a secret.
And then you can do and have and be things that people will say that's impossible for you to do and have and be.
We're really now moving into a new era. It's the era where the last frontier is not space, as Star Trek would say, but it's going to be mind.
I see a future of unbounded potential, unbounded possibilities. Remember, we're using at most 5% of the potential of the human mind. 100% human potential is the result of proper education. So imagine a world where people were using their full mental and emotional potential. We could go anywhere. We could do anything, achieve anything.
See yourself with the good that you desire. Every religious book tells us that. Every great book on philosophy, every great leader, all the avatars who have ever lived, go back and study the wise ones. Many of them have been presented to you in this program. You know what? They all understood one thing. They understood the secret. Now you understand it. And the more you use it, the more you'll understand it.
You've come to this juncture in your life merely because something in you kept saying, you deserve to be happy. You are born to add something, to add value to this world. to simply be the best that you can be. Every single thing you've been through, every single moment that you've come through, were to all prepare you for this moment right now. Now you get that you are the creator of your destiny. Imagine what you can do from this day forward with what you now know. What will you do with the moment? How will you seize the moment? No one else can dance your dance. No one else can sing your song. No one else can write your story. Who you are, what you do, begins right now.
I believe that you're great, that there's something magnificent about you. Regardless of what has happened to you in your life, regardless of how young or how old you think you might be, the moment you begin to think properly, there's something that is within you, there's power within you that's greater than the world, it will begin to emerge. It will take over your life. It will feed you. It will clothe you. It will guide you, protect you, direct you, sustain your very existence if you let it. Now that is what I know for sure.